Guess what? I just rigged up my Blackmagic 6K Pro and I'm really happy about it. Check it out. Yeah. Amazing, isn't it? And in this video, we're going to look at what makes up this rigging and see if this is truly a happy rigging and if I truly did not break the bank. So without further ado, let's get started. The Blackmagic 6K Pro for me has been a wonderful camera. As a matter of fact, this is my go-to camera for video works, and it's not something you just want to pick out of the box and start using, because it's not practical for you to just put on your lens, battery, memory card or something and start recording. And most cine cameras are just like that. And today I've been able to rig up my Blackmagic 6K Pro, and the primary objective today is to look at what makes up, this rigging and the cost implication as well. And now, using this camera for over a year, I love the performance. Every day comes with its own learning using this camera, from moving from, digital lenses to cine lenses, then trying to have additional monitor, which makes a lot of sense, because the truth of it is that looking at this setup, when you mount this battery, which you need, because the battery life on the camera is not a longer one, max of 45 minutes, and if you're doing a more long hour production, you will need a battery like this. Then when you mount this battery, you are obstructed from this screen, and the best you can do is just to tilt it up, of which this is not practical in most shots. And as a result of that, I decided to buy a smaller 7-inch monitor. The cage itself makes all of this happen, because without the cage you can actually attach more things to it, and this is really amazing. That is why it's really important for anybody who is thinking of going into this direction to think about it first. I've been using Sony for years without rigging, and it performs, because I can have 5 batteries in my pocket, and when one is down, I just put it in, and it was really working, but in this case, you would not be able to use it effectively and smartly without rigging it. So today we're just going to look at what makes up all of the rigging and the cost implication, and at the end of the day, we'll see if this is really a good rigging and a happy one. So let's cut to it. Okay, so now we have everything dismantled, and I'm going to put it up together in a moment. Before we do that, let's see what we have. The first thing I want to talk about is the camera. The camera is fantastic. So the camera is big, and it has a large screen, which makes a lot of sense. It also comes with ND filter. Sometimes you may not need to invest in ND filter, but if you have more than one camera, I think you may consider thinking about that, especially if the other cameras don't have ND filter. Probably, I just think it's something we need. So, and I have on it a small rig cage for Blackmagic 6K Pro. That was the first thing I bought, which is really nice. The good thing about the cage is that it has a slot for SSD card, which is quite handy. You have a dedicated port for your gimbal, especially running RS2 and RS3, and which is really nice. So that is that on the camera. The next thing we have is this fantastic SSD card. It's a Samsung, it's 1 terabyte. And this is what, a lot of people use, especially people with this kind of camera. And so far so good. It's been, a reliable storage. I have 2 of this, and no regrets so far. And I have this small rig base plate, which is where my rods will go into, which makes a lot of sense. And also I have a focus pulling system. This is the TILTA nucleus hand, which is actually the cheapest from TILTA. It's really a good one, and it gets the job done, so there is no complaint. So I have this, and one good thing about the focus pulling system is it's wireless, so even when you don't want to pull the focus by yourself, you can actually give it to someone else to pull the focus, which is quite reasonable. And I have my TILTA matte box, which is called MIRAGE, and this is really a good one. It's portable, it's smart, and the good thing is it comes with a variable ND filter, which is really nice. Looking at it, it's really good. It's a nice one, and I like it for that. Look at it. It's very handy, especially when you're shooting outdoor, and and this is really perfect. It's really handy. That's good. The one of the reasons why you need matte box is because sometimes when the light is falling on your camera sensor directly, you can just use the matte box to cut the light off in this way, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people use matte box. So it's quite helpful. I also have this handle, which really is cheap, and it has a lot of functionalities. You can use it for so many things, and I love it because really it's quite sturdy, and that's for me is the most important thing. And I have this V-mount battery plate, which is also cheap. Also, I have this battery, this moment battery. As a matter of fact, I have two of these batteries. They do 4 to 5 hours, which really is good. And when you're using like TILTA floats, you will need 2 of these to balance your pole, and it does that as well. So it does a multi-purpose thing, and I like it so much. It's quite portable, very smart and good. Yeah, so far so good. I've been using it for like a month now. It's really nice. Then I have the Fieldward monitor. Is a 7-inch monitor. Is a touchscreen. It has 1000 nit brightness, which means that it's quite bright, and it has a lot of features. I'm going to review this later. Then also I have my cine lenses, which are really important. This is the 85mm t1.5. This is 35mm t1.5. And this is also 16mm T1.5. I mean T2.1. They are all Samyang products. Samyang is cheap, and the image quality is quite reasonable. And also I have this 2-pin to D-tap to connect my battery to my camera in order to have more power. And I have the Allen key and few screws here. So I think that's it. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to put all of this together and see how it looks. Then we look at the cost implication. The very first thing you want to do to set up your rigging is you want to connect the base, which is where almost everything rests. And to do that, I'm just going to and to come back to the single ones, which happens sometimes. So that's easy. And after that, I want to start rigging up. And first thing first is, okay. So my rod comes here. Okay, so I have my rod installed, and my SSD card installed. So the next thing we're going to install is the top handle. To do that, it just inserts to the left and to the right. So it's just as easy as that. All right. So now that we have that installed, I want to add my, my lens. Now, the good thing about having cine lens is that you don't need to have, the focus, this one, I've forgotten the name, because it comes with it, and that is actually a plus. And that is not the only benefit of having cine lenses. Another benefit is that the images are quite softer and they are quite cinematic, and also it has hard stops. It doesn't just roll till infinity, which makes a lot of sense. That is it. And now you'll see that, the camera is, heavy to one side. And to make sure it's balanced and to counter the balance, I'm going to attach my V-mount plates just to the back. You see. And that's it. And the next thing we want to do is to attach the battery. So it's well balanced right now, and as you can see, that is really good. Now the next thing we want to do is to attach our focus pulling system. So why do we need a focus pulling system? The reason why we need the focus pulling system is that when you are holding this camera, the other option you have is to hold it with one hand and pull focus with the other hand, and that would actually bring a lot of shakes, which I have experienced in the past, and it's just not the very best way to do it. And having a focus pulling system would actually, minimize that. That's number one. And with this kind of a focus pulling system, you can give this to someone else to pull focus, meaning that you just focus on taking, framing and taking nice, shots, which makes a lot of sense. I think that is the reason. So just gonna you can actually put it anywhere, whether to the right or to the left, but for this I'm just gonna mount it to the right side. That's that for the focus pulling, and I'm going to attach the controller to the right hand side, and this comes with the focus pulling system, which is the TILTA focus pulling system, and that's it. And I'm gonna lock it, and it's just as easy as that. Now we're having our rig looking really good. And also I'm going to add my matte box, you see, which is really nice. That comes with, variable end filter, which is really good to have. And it's a TILTA matte box. And before you can attach your matte box, you're going to have this adapter. It comes, I think he has 4, he has 82, 72, and 77. So you have to screw it on your lens before attaching your matte box, which is just this way, and screw it in. And that's it. Now you have your matte box, you see, which really, really looks nice. And now it's time to attach our monitor right now. So we're just going to attach the monitor. Right. That's nice. You can tilt the monitor whichever way you want it. I think it's looking really beautiful right now. And as you can see, it's really, really fantastic. We've been able to solve a lot of problems, and there is justification for everything, and that's what I'm trying to do. So the next thing we want to do is to attach our V-mount, our battery, to supply power to the camera. Okay, I think it's going to be on this way. And insert it to the 2-pin, and that's it. And also attach battery to this. Okay, so I have the NPF battery, which is really, really nice. So I'm just gonna connect it. That's my NPF battery. To power your focus motor, you need to connect it. You need to connect a cable and wire it to a power supply. So I'm going to power my focus motor with the V-mount battery. The controller has inbuilt battery, but if you don't have that battery charged, you can also power it with your V-mount battery. One of the things I noticed is that when you have lots of loads on the V-mount battery, the battery life reduces, to 2 to 3 hours or so. Now that the rigging is completed, just for the information, you need to calibrate your focus pulling system, and to do that you need to hold down the down arrow for 3 seconds and it's going to auto calibrate itself. And when it's done, by the time you pull focus, it's going to, control the movement, which makes a lot of sense. And the good thing about this focus pulling system is that the stops are actually observed, meaning that you can't exceed, those ranges. And I love, that for me. And now that we have everything's, rigged up, which looks really fantastic and great, portable in a way. And we want to know if we've not, broken the bank. And let's look at the cost implication and see if truly we did not break the bank. I know one of the common questions a lot of people would want to ask is it really worth it, or is it necessary rigging up my camera? I think if you use, cinema camera, especially the Blackmagic, you would necessarily at a point need to rig it up, even if all you do is just, interviews, because you really want to work smart. And to do that, you need to, put some things in places, especially when it has to do with this camera. For example, the battery is necessary because the inbuilt battery is, you can't rely on that, and this will give you more power. And that's why it's really important. I think one of the things you can just do without is the variable ND filter, which you may not be needing because the camera comes with inbuilt ND filter. Overall, I think depending on what you really want, you can have a smaller rigging, you can have a less rigging, especially if you want a camera that you won't need to rig. Then you'll be talking about like the Canon C300 Mark II, C200. Those ones are built, to some extent that you can work without rigging. And one of the things I don't put sound on my camera right here is because most of the times I use lapel mic, or the pole mic, and this is good enough for me when I want to sync the audio. However, there are times where I have to use the NTG4 Plus on this, rigging, which makes a lot of sense. So overall, I really like this rigging. And looking at the cost implication, without the camera and the lens, the whole rigging is around £1,500 to 1,600, which is not about breaking the bank. But if you need to add, the camera, the lens, and the other lenses, then you'll be going to average of say 5,000 to 5,500. So it's still not very expensive compared to the Red Raven, and it's just a matter of choice. And that is why if you are a content creator, you need to, make sure that your pricing is right, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure these products are insured. And also, you also want to think about upgrade, which would actually come from probably your savings or, a particular set aside fund, which is all about how much you charge for your job, which makes a lot of sense. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. And if you have rigged your camera up, a Blackmagic camera owner, and you've rigged it up and you didn't spend this much, can you share with us your rigging, your setup, so that we can learn from you? The most important thing is to make sure that we get the cheapest rigging. If you ask me if I'm happy with this rigging, I would tell you yes, I'm happy, because it's really a smart one and not very heavy. However, it doesn't mean I can go on this for hours without getting tired. That's why if you have the budget, you can begin to think about having, gadgets like TILTA float, which will make life a lot easier for you. And one of the things I think we need to learn as filmmakers, solo filmmakers, is, if you have this gadget, I think you need to consider making money, rental income from them. Give it to other filmmakers, who will take care of your equipment very well, just like you will do, and make use of it. With that, they don't need to buy a new one. They just need to rent and make use of it. And with that, you make rental income. So when you're not very busy, the camera is working and it's busy, because whether you use it or not, the camera or the equipment are depreciating, and till I come your way next time, stay blessed and be happy, and bye for now.